Hello and welcome students. In the last video lecture, I had completed chapter number 5 of accountancy, that is admission of a new partner. Now in this video lecture, I am going to start the next consecutive chapter, that is chapter number 6, retirement or death of a partner. Students, if you have understood the chapter number 5, that is admission of a partner, then it would be easy to understand the concept and the practical sums of retirement or death of a partner, because both the chapters are interlinked or interwoven with each other. The weightage of this chapter in board examination is almost the same as that of the admission of a new partner. Here also one question, big question of 8 marks that is being asked. So from the examination point of view, we have to concentrate only on the bigger sums, but as in the admission of partner, I had done the practical sums of finding the sacrifice ratio, new profit and loss sharing ratio, accounting treatment related to goodwill. In the same way, over here also we'll be doing short sums related to finding the new profit and loss sharing ratio, gaining ratio, and accounting treatment or related to goodwill, because these short sums would be helpful in the bigger sums, because the entries related to goodwill and to find the new profit and loss sharing ratio or gaining ratio will be required while doing the bigger sums. So first of all, we have to understand the concept of retirement or death of a partner. Now the title of the lesson itself clarifies what is the meaning of the title, that is retirement or death of a partner. It means in any of the case, if there are 3 partners, suppose X, Y and Z, and due to any of the circumstances partner Z has to retire from the firm, then or his death may occur due to any unforeseen situation, then the remaining 2 partners have to continue the business. So X and Y are the continuing partners after the retirement of Z. Okay. So over here you can see I have written on the board, there are the 2 conditions in which the retirement or death of a partner takes place from the firm. That is as per Partnership, Indian Partnership Act. Students have already studied in 11th, that is Indian Partnership Act 1932. So if at the time of partnership formed, you are knowing they are maintaining a partnership deed amongst the partners, and certain clauses or rules and regulations for the partnership firm, they are deciding in the partnership deed. So as per the partnership deed, the working of the firm is going on. So the retirement or death of a partner may take place as per the Partnership Act, and the second one as per the voluntary retirement due to personal reasons of that partner. So these are the 2 situations in which the retirement of a partner takes place. Okay. Now let us understand the first point, that is as per Indian Partnership Act, that is 1932. And that first point, unanimously. Unanimously means by the voluntary agreement, as per the agreement or in the Indian Partnership Act or as per the partnership deed, it has been decided that after 1 year or 2 years, any of the partner will be retiring. So as per the partnership deed or as per the agreement, any of the partner has to retire after a stipulated period of time. So that is called unanimously. The second one, that is by notice. Suppose there are 3 partners X, Y and Z, and due to any of the reason partner Z wants to retire, then he has to give the notice to the remaining 2 partners as per the partnership deed, and then he can retire from the business. Okay. Now the third one, that is by contract. It means in the partnership deed, during the establishment of the partnership firm, it has been decided or a contract has been signed amongst the partners that one of the partner or any of the partners, suppose there are 3 partners X, Y and Z, out of that Z partner will retire. At the time of deed only they have decided that that partner is going to retire. So after the deed contract time period gets over, then that partner automatically gets retired, because it is already mentioned in the partnership deed. Okay, so by notice, by contract, The fourth point, that is insolvency of a partner. Now students, you are very well aware of the terminology that is insolvency. Insolvency means the person or the partner who is incapable to pay the amount due on him. Suppose he has taken loan from the firm or loan from the bank, and he is unable to pay that amount to the bank or to the firm even after frequent reminders or frequent notice, then he declares himself to be insolvent, right? So that type of insolvent partner affects the credit or goodwill of the firm. So if any of the partner declares himself to be insolvent, then he has to retire from the firm because it affects the goodwill or the prestige of the firm. Now the next point, that is death of a partner. That is a natural reason due to any of the disease or any of the unforeseen situation. If any of the partner retires, if any of the partner's death occurs, then naturally his share will be removed and the remaining two partners have to continue the business. And the last point, that is expulsion by other partners. Now expulsion by other partners means, suppose same example, that is 3 partners X, Y and Z. Out of that, Z partner is doing some activities in the business which is not in the benefit or in the interest of the business. So if the other 2 partners feel that any of the activity which harms the business that is done by the partner Z, then they have the right to expel, to remove him from the firm by giving him proper notice as per the Indian Partnership Act 1932. So these are the points according to which the retirement of a partner takes place as per Indian Partnership Act 1932. Now the next point, that is voluntary retirement due to personal reasons. Now any of the partner, suppose Z partner, out of the 3 partners want to voluntary retirement. Suppose his age has become, or he do not require to have that much burden or excess work he does not want to do. So any of his personal reasons, he cannot work effectively in the firm. So he himself voluntarily want to retire from the firm due to any of his personal reasons. Then that is called the voluntary retirement by any of the partner due to his personal reasons. So these are the 2 situations in which the retirement of a partner takes place in a partnership firm. Now moving on to the practical part of it, which points we have to consider at the time of the practical solution of the sum. The first point, accounting treatment. The first point, that is new P&L ratio and gaining share of continuing partners. Now students, you are very much familiar with the concept. In the admission of partner also we had studied, that is to find new profit and loss sharing ratio. Over here, when one partner gets retired, the remaining 2 partners will be continuing the business. Suppose there are 3 partners, that is partner X, Y and Z, and they are sharing profit and loss in the ratio of 5:3:2. Now out of that, partner C retires. So now the remaining 2 partners, that are X and Y, so their new profit and loss sharing ratio, that will be 5:3 after deducting the share of the retiring partner, that is Z. So there would be different situations in which the new profit and loss sharing ratio that we have to find. And the second one, that is gaining ratio, gaining share. Naturally, if the one partner gets retired, so his share will now be shared by the remaining 2 partners, that are called continuing partners. Over here you can see, previously X partner that was getting the share, that is 5/10, but now after the retirement of Z, partner X will be getting 5/8. So his share will be increased compared to the previous share. Okay, so previously he was getting 5/10, now he is getting 5/8 share. So his share of profit will be increased due to retirement of any of the partner in the partnership firm. So that is called the gaining share of the continuing partners. Which are the continuing partners over here? That is X and Y. So they will gain because of the retirement of the Z partner. Okay. Now the next point, that is valuation of goodwill. Students, in the last chapter also, in admission of new partner also, we have discussed various accounting treatments related to goodwill. Over here also, due to retirement of any of the partner, his share of goodwill has to be paid. Over there, due to admission of new partner, the new partner has to bring the amount of goodwill in order to get admitted in the firm. Over here, a share of goodwill has to be given to the retiring partner because he has also contributed in the upliftment of the business. Okay. So we have to see various situations, accounting treatments we'll learn later on related to goodwill. Next one, that is the third point, revaluation of assets and liabilities. You are knowing, in admission of a new partner also, we are preparing the accounts. In that first account that we are preparing, that was a revaluation account. Due to admission of a new partner, the assets and liabilities are to be revalued. Due to revaluation of the assets and liabilities, the profit or loss will occur. To record that profit or loss, the revaluation account we were preparing. In the same way, due to retirement or death of a partner also, the assets and liabilities new value will occur, and due to that new value of assets and liabilities, the profit or loss will occur to the firm. To record that profit or loss, revaluation account is to be prepared in case of retirement or death of a partner. So that is similar to what you have studied in chapter number 5. Now the fourth point, that is also similar to chapter number 5, accumulated reserves, profit and losses. Now students, already we discussed, that is capital reserve, general reserve, then afterwards workmen's compensation fund, investment fluctuation reserve, then credit balance of P&L account, suppose it is given to you, or debit balance of profit and loss account, that is the accumulated loss. If any of such balances that are given in the question in the balance sheet, then they are called accumulated reserves, profit and losses. So first of all, that is to be distributed amongst the all the partners, among all the partners, including the retiring partner also, right? Over there we are distributing only between the existing partners, not in the not for the new admitted partners. Over here, the accumulated reserve, profit or any of the losses is to be distributed amongst all the partners, including the retiring partner, in their old profit and loss sharing ratio. Suppose in this example, X, Y and Z, the ratio is 5:3:2. Suppose the general reserve is given to you 50,000. Then this 50,000 is to be distributed amongst all the three partners. Z will not be removed. His share also would be there in this general reserve, because he has also contributed in gaining this general reserve, or in contribution of this general reserve from his share of profit. So he will also get the share of general reserve. Then afterwards the retirement of that partner will take place. Okay. Now the next point, that is fifth one, amount payable to retiring partner. Naturally he is retiring from the firm, so certain amount of share of profit or the assets will be given to him at the time of retirement of the partner, because he has contributed many years in the business. So according to his share, the share of assets and profit will be given to him. Now for that the table has details have been given to you on page number 226 of your textbook. So let us refer what amount is payable to the retiring partner. That is page number 226, 8th point, last it is given to you. Amount payable to the retiring partner is decided by preparing his capital account. Now how this retiring partner amount is decided? By preparing his capital account. By preparing capital account, the credit balance and debit balance, we are able to know what amount has to be received by that partner and what amount has to be received from that partner. It means what amount has to be paid and what amount has to be received from that partner. That idea we can get only by preparing the capital account. Now following amounts are credited to the retiring partner's capital account. Which amounts are to be credited in his account and which amount has to be debited in his account, that we are going to discuss. The first one, that is opening balance of capital account and the credit balance of current account on the date of retirement. It means opening balance, whatever the opening balance of his capital account or any of the credit balance of current account, that is to be recorded on the credit side of his account. The second one, that is share in profit of revaluation account. Revaluation account, already we are knowing. Over here also, whatever the profit occurs of the revaluation account, that is to be distributed amongst all the partners, including the retiring partner, in their old profit and loss sharing ratio. So share of profit will also be credited to his capital account. The next one, that is share in reserves and undistributed profit. Just now only I had explained that whatever the general reserve, capital reserve, or accumulated profit or loss, or whatever the balance, credit balance, will also be shared by the retiring partner. So that also would be credited to his capital account. Then after, share in new value of goodwill. Whatever the goodwill arises, in that the share of the retiring partner also would be there, because that goodwill is earned by the firm when that partner was existing or as an active partner in the firm. Next one, that is share in profit of the firm from the date of last balance sheet to the date of retirement. It means the share of profit from the date of balance sheet. Suppose he is retiring on 30th June. So from 31st March, the balance sheet generally we are preparing at the end of the accounting year, that is 31st March. So from 31st March to 30th June, the share of profit will also be given to the retiring partner till the time of, or till the date of retirement. So that 3 months profit share also would be given to the retiring partner. Next one, salary, commission, interest on capital, interest on loan given to the firm from the date of last balance sheet to the date of retirement. It means, suppose same way, 31st March last balance sheet is prepared and 30th June he is going to retire. So that 3 months, suppose a firm has decided to give certain amount of salary to that particular firm as per the partnership deed. On a regular basis, monthly he is getting the salary. Then that amount of salary is to be given for that 3 months. If any of the commission is to be paid, then that also has to be counted for that 3 months till the date of his retirement. So salary, commission, suppose any capital he has, naturally he at the time of admission he has contributed a certain amount of capital in the firm, so regular basis he will be getting interest on capital. So that also he should get till the date of his retirement. And the last one, that is interest on loan. Suppose the firm requires any of the fund, for extra fund to continue or to start a new venture. So to start that new venture, they require more fund. So that new fund is given by one of the partner, and that partner is going to retire. Now that partner, when it has lended his personal money to the firm, then it is called loan given to the firm by one of the partner. So he is getting the interest on that loan also from the firm. So if any of the rate of interest is not given, then 6%, students please note it down, that 6% rate of interest would be given on loan given by the partner to the firm, in case no any rate of interest has been mentioned in the question. Okay, so these are the balances, or these amount will be credited to his capital account. Now which amount will be debited to his capital account? That is debit balance of current account. If it is credit balance, that will be credited, and if it is debit balance, it will be recorded on the debit side. Next one, that is drawings. If it is capital, then it would be credit side, and if it is drawings, then it would be debit side. Interest on capital will be credited, then interest on drawings will be debited. Then after, sharing undistributed loss. In the as accumulated profit we are writing on credit side. Same way, accumulated loss, that will be debited to his partner's capital account. Share in old goodwill appearing in the books. Share in loss, as profit will be credited, in the same way loss will be debited, his share of loss, not the share of the entire firm. Only his share of loss will be debited to his capital account. Next one, that is loan given by the firm to the retiring partner. In case the partner gives the loan, then is liable to receive the interest from the firm, then it will be credited. But if the firm gives the loan to that partner, then the partner is liable to pay the interest to the firm. So in that case, it would be debited. That would be an expense for that particular partner. So interest on loan in that case would be debited. Okay. So these are the situations in which the partner's capital account will be credited and debited, and after finding the difference, that much amount is to be paid to the partner at the time of his retirement. Okay, so this was the fifth one, that is amount payable to retiring partner, that can be known after finding the balance of his capital account. Now the last point, that is payment of amount due to retiring partner. It means any of the amount which is due, which is outstanding, remaining to be paid to the retiring partner in the later date as per the agreement, that is to be paid to the retiring partner. So these are the accounting treatments that we have to understand in the practical sums. This was just the theory or the basic idea that I have given of all these accounting treatments. Okay, now moving on to the practical sums, I am starting with the short sums. The first question that I have taken, that is question 3.1 of your textbook, that is on page number 264. You can open your textbook and take out page number 264. That is question number 3.1. 3.1, in that question number 3, calculate the new profit and loss sharing ratio and gaining ratio. Again, I am discussing these type of sums are not going to be asked in the examination, but they are important for the bigger sums. So we are calculating few of the sums related to new profit and loss sharing ratio and gaining ratio. The first one question, that is 3.1, that is, let us read the question. X, Y and Z are partners sharing profit and loss in the ratio of 5:3:2. In that Z retires. There are three partners X, Y and Z. You can see on the question I have written old ratio, that is given 5:3:2. Now when any of the partner retires, over here which partner retires, that is Z retires. So Z partner retires, then the remaining share of the two partners, that would be 5:3 after deducting the share of the retiring partner. So no any other data is given to you. So after deducting the share of the retiring partner, the new ratio what it would come, that is 5:3, and same would be the gaining ratio also, that is 5:3. So no any calculation would be over here. Directly subtracting the share of the retiring partner, the remaining two partners share, that would be his new ratio also, and that would be his gain ratio also. Okay. Now moving on to question number 2. A, B and C are partners sharing profit and loss in the ratio of 1/2, 1/3 and 1/6. Now 1/2, 1/3 and 1/6. Now making the denominator equal, over here we have to take LCM 6. So here it would come 2 3s are 6. Over here it would come 3 2s are 6, and over 6 1s are 6. So the old ratio of the partner A, B and C, that would come to 3:2:1. Now out of that, three different situations are given to you. See, you can see on the question, if A retires, second one if B retires, and the third one if C retires. Now if the partner A retires, then deducting his share of profit, the new ratio and gain ratio both would be equal, that is 2:1, that is for B and C. Now if B retires, then his share will be deducted, the new and gain ratio, that would be 3:1 between A and C. In the same way, for the third situation, that is C retires, then new and gain ratio would be deducting C's share, the remaining share of A and B, that would be 3:2. So the new ratio and gain ratio of A and B, that would be 3:2. So just deducting the share of the retiring partner, the remaining share, that would be the new share, and the gaining ratio between the continuing partners. Okay, so these two sums were quite easy just for understanding. No any calculation are there over here. Now the third question. If P, Q and R are partners sharing profit and loss in the ratio of 40%, 20% and 40%. You can see I have written over here 4:2:4. 40%, 20% and 40%. Deducting the 0 from each and every one, it would come 4:2:4. Now again simplifying it, that would come 2 1s are 2, 2 2s are 4 and 2 2s are 4. So the old ratio between the three partners, that is P, Q and R, that would come to 2:1:2. Now gain of P, that is given to you in the question. See in the third question, Q retires. Out of the three partners, which partner is retiring? That is the middle one, that is Q is retiring. Now P is acquiring 3/20th and R is acquiring 1/20th from Q's share. Now what is the gaining share? This is gaining share. In the last chapter also I explained the difference between sacrificing share and sacrificing ratio. Over here the gaining share of the two partners that is given to you, that is P and R, 3 by 20 and 1 by 20. From that gaining share will be have to find the gaining ratio. So over here see gaining ratio that we have found out because the denominators are the same. So easily we can find the ratio, that is 3:1. For making the ratio, the denominators should be equal. If the denominators are not equal, so first we have to find the LCM and make the denominators equal. Over here the denominators are same, so easily the gaining ratio will get, that is 3:1. Now after finding the gaining ratio, students, this formula first of all I have to explain, that is over here gaining ratio would come. In case of admission we are finding sacrificing ratio. Over here in case of gaining ratio it would be new share minus old share. In admission we are doing sacrificing ratio is equal to old share minus new share. Over here it would come gaining ratio opposite of the sacrifice, that is new minus old. Okay, now over here gaining ratio already we have got, we have to find new ratio. So new ratio, how we can find? New ratio is equal to gain, new ratio is equal to gain plus old ratio, or old ratio plus gain, whatever you do. So from this formula we can find the new ratio. So new ratio is equal to old ratio plus gaining share. Okay, it would be gaining share, not gaining ratio. Mind well, over here in the formula will apply always the gaining share, not the gaining ratio. So you can see for P and R the new ratio that we have to find out, because after the retirement only two partners are continuing the business. So old ratio, that is 2 by 5, you can see 2:1 is to 2. So P is the share, that would be 2 by 5 plus gaining share. Gaining share of P, that is also given in the question, that is 3 by 20. Making the denominators equal, take the LCM, that is 20. So 5 4s are 20, 4 into 2 it would come to 8. So 8 plus 3 is equal to 11 by 20. Same way for R, R's old share, that is also 2 by 5. You can see over here R's share, that is 2 by 5. So 2 by 5 plus his gaining share, that is given to you 1 by 20. So 2 by 5 plus 1 by 20. Again taking the LCM, that is 20. So 5 4s are 20, 4 2s are 8. 8 plus 1, that would come to 9. So 9 by 20. You can see the denominators are equal. So easily the new profit and loss sharing ratio, that is 11 is to 9. By doing the addition of 11 plus 9, the denominator should come. It means your ratio is correct. So you can see the new ratio, that is 11 is to 9, and the gaining ratio, that is 3:1. So in this short sums we have to find two things, that is the new profit and loss sharing ratio and the gaining ratio. So students, I hope you have understood the basic concept of retirement or death of a partner, and few of the short sums that I have selected. And in the next video lecture still will be continuing the shorter sums. Till then, goodbye, keep practicing, stay blessed.